meeting in order, 5:01. I would entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of February 3rd.
I so move.
A second.
Move to second. Any corrections, additions, subtractions? Hearing none, may we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the minutes of February 3rd, 2025 as presented. Mr. Halter?
Yes.
Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Butcher?
Yes.
Minutes are adopted.
Now entertain a motion to approve payment bills in the amount of $38,403.24, broken down general fund 1966.34, cemetery 4686.72, fire $28,025.35, road 3724.83. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we pay bills.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Motion is second. Any further discussion regarding these accounts?
Yeah, remind me, the fire department bill up very low. We did have a payroll in it. That includes a payroll. Impressive. I don't know.
That includes an overtime payroll.
Yeah, and there was a lot of overtime, obviously, because we're short part. So, and then we have an assistant chief. Okay, cool. That's accurate. I'm good. I have no further
May
discussion.
we vote, please?
It's been moved and seconded to approve payment of bills in the amount of $38,403.24 as enumerated. Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Halter?
Yes.
Ms. Butcher?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Correspondence in the period, just a couple things I have. Anybody else has some? We'll add to it. One is a fresh letter from Xenia Township Fire Department addressed to Assistant Chief Nate Ayers. It reads, Chief Ayers, thank you for your response on February 17th, 25 to a residential structure fire at 3305 West Union Road. Engine 82's crew provided a great size-up, requested a working fire, and initiated a fire attack. These actions contributed to bringing this incident to a successful conclusion. We hope the best recovery for your employee. Freezing temperatures and nature of this basin fire that extended into the first floor created some challenges for us. Fortunately, with effective management and skillful crews, we were able to limit the property damage and stabilize the incident. When the time arrives, we look forward to once again working together. Please let me know if we can be of assistance to you. Sincerely, Greg Beal, Fire Chief in Xenia Township. Wasn't that very nice?
And that was Mark Murphy and Justin and
Mark Murphy, Justin Turner, Cassidy Brewer, showed a little bit later, and Peyton Cooper. Those are Peyton, Murphy, and Justin were the initial arriving crew.
oh,
Any injuries?
Just to Mark Murphy.
I'm sorry?
Just to Mark. Stop.
Mark's hand.
No civilian casualties, no animals.
And one other short piece of correspondence, which goes with some other discussion that we're going to have in a minute, but I need to send a letter, which is in an envelope, to Otarma Service Center in Kalamazoo, Michigan. The purpose of the letter is to provide you with an extension for payment of your contribution. It says, Chris Future, Miami Township, brings my signature in the form and promise to submit a contribution of $45,369 in order to fulfill this commitment. Our check will be mailed to Otarma Service Center at the address below no later than 3/1/25. I realize if this commitment is not held as promised, claims incurred after the policy anniversary date will not be considered. The anniversary date was February 10th. If anybody didn't know. In addition, we understand that we will forfeit any refund from the cumulative reserve fund, which we may have otherwise been entitled to. As a minimum of 60 days notice of possible intent to withdraw is required to be eligible for these monies. It's signed, and I will put that in the mail tomorrow.
$45,000 is our annual premium,
$45,369.
and that comes out of the general fund?
General fire, road,
Oh,
cemetery,
okay, split. Okay.
zoning,
Yeah.
everybody gets a little chunk of that.
Okay.
Any other correspondence?
Nothing jumped out at me.
I have one, but it's already embedded in the, we got the something from Tech Advisors, which is going to be on the agenda, so.
Any addition to the agenda for this evening from the public? Hearing none, we'll move to the fire department report.
Righty. So another relatively slow couple weeks. 33 total runs, 6 fire, 23 EMS. We gave 3 mutual aid services from us to whomever. It was like Houston and Township, and we received 1. So, and including that was the destruction fire on the road. So, Lieutenant Goad and I will be going over our hiring process and the whole onboarding, making any changes that we are going to need to make, whether it's the questionnaires, the actual application, things like that. References and possibly reformatting the entire application as a whole. That's kind of to be determined. I sent out part-time job postings to Soin and Green. You should have received those in the email with my report. And Premier Health Network. So all 3 hospital networks will have those. And then we'll also hand them out to staff to hand out as they need. And I'll get a hold of Sinclair and Clark State and have them post in there as well. This is for part-time positions. Lieutenant Klein will be taking over the scheduling system while I'm currently in my acting position. We're going to be reviewing staffing levels and if any changes need to be made within the constraints of the budget. This is to be expected to be completed in late March or early April. Emails have been sent out to volunteers to obtain their schedules to buffer our nighttime staffing with additional members. I'll be working on reestablishing the entire volunteer program in the meantime, including their pay rates and working hours. There's one missing from the initial reclassification sheet. It's an oversight. With that, I would like to add Dave Meiser back to our roster.
Be elected?
Yes. Yes. So I'd like to bring him back in.
Welcome back,
Thank you. So I'm not going to do issue a resolution or anything.
Yeah, we'll use this all of them.
Okay.
Nobody ever leaves.
Yeah, it's fair. So this one on your sheets, it should show as submitted to. I've actually completed that. So all 3 new full-time members have been submitted to the Ohio Police and Fire Pension Fund as of today. Working on a self-serve uniform portal through Gulls, one of the companies we order our uniforms through. Obviously pending budget and pending uniform allowances. Drug license renewal. The drug license expires March 31st, 2025. I'm in the process of getting all that. I'll need to get the director for her signature and final approval once I get all the official documents in.
Real quick, the uniform portal, that's not for turnout gear.
No, it's just uniforms. Yeah.
All right, just checking.
Yeah, we get all of our turnout gear through Phoenix, but it has to go through the admin first to get all that.
Okay.
We will be beginning the vacation and sick leave audit for years 22 through 24. With that being said, hopefully I can get that all done. I've got all the paperwork together. Once that's done, I can update our system. Hopefully everything will match.
Yeah, that's a remote thing. I saw that Frederick had sent something to Gina too. You'll be auditing the UAN. I think I've done a little bit and put together, and there was some stuff.
Yeah, so I'll be auditing UAN, Staff Works, and our older scheduler, ESL.
Although UAN is the one of record. Yeah.
But everything's got to get looked at.
Everything has to get confirmed because,
we're still waiting on our number 2 domestic water pump from M&R and Dayton. I don't know when that's going to be back. Our air compressor is going to need to be looked at. It started screeching the other day, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I can probably take a look at it. If not, I can get the people who are doing our domestic water pump to take a look at it as well while they're out here. Tank Area 2 is still waiting for parts to repair the pump system in it. That came from Atlantic, we contract crew for our repairs. The port floor is going to need to be looked at get like a safety check done on it. But it's going for an oil change tomorrow.
That's the main chief car?
Yeah. Yeah, once that's done, I'll probably start taking it during my normal working days and responding from home at night. So. And then future projects, we're going to be auditing our assets and preventative maintenance. So our gear, the trucks. Last but not least, Nick Miller Jacobson. He would like the record to reflect, from the last meeting, he would like the record to reflect that he was not selected for the firefighter paramedic sergeant position. So instead of, I forget how it reads on the resolution, but he wants it to state that he was not selected.
I'm not sure. He was specifically named in the resolution. We did adopt the classification schedule, so I'm not clear. Was he talking about the written record or the?
The written record, yeah.
Huh.
There was one member that was dropping down from 36 hours to part-time. I've heard, like I said, I'm not sure how it reads, and I couldn't find my copy of it, but he just wants it reflected. He just wants the record reflected.
So the resolution itself said that.
Yep. But he was not selected instead of declined the position.
Then how, does that mean we need to do a change in the minutes?
It's
Or
not in the minutes, I'm looking.
Okay.
It might be in the resolution, but it's not in the minutes specifically.
While she's looking for that, do you want to?
I don't see his name listed in the resolution at all, so I don't know what we're referencing.
Okay. I can find
It might be is it in the pay schedule document itself? Because I don't have that.
I mean, it's
don't know
listed.
what we're referring to.
Or perhaps on the video, I think what he's objecting to is, and I remember someone stating he chose not to take a permanent,
Yes.
full-time
Yes.
career position. And what he'd like to say is that
He was not selected.
he was not chosen. Well, I do have a question about the full-time firefighter paramedic. He wouldn't have been chosen for that anyway because he's not a paramedic, correct?
Correct. Well,
So he
sort
was
of
not-
correct.
He was not selected.
Cassie Brewer is also not a medic. He chose to keep his position. So.
But he's not a full-time, he's not a firefighter paramedic either, so,
No, he's in school to be a medic.
yeah. So I guess okay, he wasn't selected.
He just wants the record to reflect that.
Was Nick a sergeant?
Yes.
Oh, I get it, now I get it. Got it.
so what are we doing here?
I have no idea. It is not in the minutes, it's not in the resolution I don't know what we're fixing. So I need some clarification, please.
Well, I would assume if it's not in the minutes, it's not in the resolution, then just us talking about it would reflect the change.
I'm a little confused. Apparently there's verbiage that he doesn't, or he objects to about being not selected versus.
I believe it was stated that he turned it down. He did not turn it down, he was not selected
I
for it.
understand. Okay.
Okay.
I think we could put that.
I can certainly include that statement in the minutes.
Yep. Okay. And then apart from that, his pay should increase the top pay firefighter EMT at $17.58 effective December 28th, when the reclassification went into effect. Appears an oversight was not addressed previously. He is allowed to keep his current vacation time with no further approval must be used within 1 year, 2025, as well as allowing him to roll over what he currently had in 2024. This will need to be referenced from you again.
So what I have here, and the reason why I thought he was at that wage is, well, for one, I think it was an oversight. The new pay scale has, and I'm not arguing this, I think we should give it to him, but we have a part-time schedule now. So I mean, a pay scale, and that's what we gave him, and that's what came from your department, which I understand Frederick's deeply involved in that. But we did have his wage down as 1710 here, so that's exactly what we thought we should do. When I look on here, so and I think somebody decided, and this is fine, that even though he's part-time and this is the wage he should make, we want to reflect his many years of commitment to the department. He wasn't offered to come along for the career position, so we want to go ahead and make an exception for him to get, as if the full-time firefighter EMT wage of $17.58. So basically, what we gave him is what he's eligible for, but in your discussions, you thought he should be how many years has he been with us? A lot, since he was 14. So, yeah. So if I don't know if I made any clearer, Don and Chris, or less clear.
You sort of explained it to me. And I will go along. What are you thinking, Chris?
I'm fine with that.
I didn't hear.
I said I'm fine with that. He's been, yes, a long time, excellent employee. And I think we should offer him this.
I would make a motion that we raise Nick Miller Jacobson's pay to the top firefighter EMT pay of $17.58.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Your vote, please.
It's been moved and seconded to increase firefighter Nick Miller Jacobson's pay to the top firefighter EMT rate of $17.58. Ms. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
And this would be effective.
Effective December 28th. Motion to approve.
Let's do that.
And while we're on pay schedules, we have a hot off the presses proposed firefighter rescue pay compensation and benefits schedule submitted from Hauser yesterday. And I don't have the changes that were reflected in that. I don't know if maybe you have what changes were reflected. I know there were minor ones, but I don't know which ones.
I think a lot of it was just verbiage, making it more clear.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to pull it up. Right as we speak.
Was this in our, I did not see, this was in our email?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
You better check your settings.
I looked through the email this morning. I didn't see anything new.
So what it is he went through, he adjusted, he added a 40-hour schedule for temporary assignment. And he explains how he got to that number for 56-hour staff. So the 24/48s, if they have to come off the road and do light duty, they'll get that rate, which will equal out to what they should be getting. And a lot of it is just the language as it states. So just kind of clarify things, making it a little more easier.
Okay. Well, then I would entertain a motion to approve the amended 2025 fire and rescue pay compensation and benefits schedule. That was effective December 20th.
I so move.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion regarding that?
I think what this is like you were making a certain wage, you were hurt on the job or whatever. You're on light duty, you go from being like 56 hours a week to 40 and suddenly you're,
Yeah. Earning my 56-hour week wage.
so you just earn your 56-hour a week wage into 40. So, yeah, got it. I see how that happened to you. And I remember when it happened, I didn't know that we needed to make that kind of adjustment. So I'm glad that's there. The question is, so we have this language, we have this verbiage. What happens to it? I mean, as far as record keeping, I'm just asking this of the trustees, next time this happens, the fiscal officer is not here today, where does this language sit? And how do we know how to do it next time? That's I think one of the problems we're having is we're passing things that are great, and you gotta ask, where does it go? Who understands it? Who could put their hands on it when we need it again? So I'm just
Well, you'll have copies and I have copies.
Fred's notes do say that this document includes content that will be transferred to the township handbook during
Yes, there
upcoming
you go,
revision
Fresh.
cycle.
That works. Brilliant.
Anything else, Dave?
We did vote yet.
Oh, we didn't, I'm sorry. There we go, please.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the revised firefighter EMC 2025 pay and benefits compensation schedule. I will verify that title. As presented, Ms. Moyer,
Yes.
Mr. Hollister,
Yes.
Mr. Mucci.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
While we're on that, Nate, have you been adjusted in payroll from your starting date as acting assistant chief? You have?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah, effective January 28th.
I just wanted to make sure it was. You're working on volunteer scheduling and pay. What are we paying volunteers now?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, I gotta try to find that information.
I have information about that. I don't think it exists. I tried earlier this year to ask the department head about the timesheets, where the numbers came from, and there was no explanation. I don't think there's a rhyme or reason. I would probably start from scratch.
So it's just stuff rolled over from the past, each case, each person being separate, not standardized?
I don't know. And I assume you guys have information from in the department, how other places do it and what the,
It was per run based on qualification.
Yeah, that's about all I knew about it. I didn't know how much it was per run, and I don't know.
And then when I checked with them, they said, no, it's $1 per hour for the hours they're here. But then I added those up, and those didn't make sense either. So I knew you said it was per run. He later told me it was.
Yeah, because we also pay them hourly for like events. That's actually in our, that's in our procedures, our SOPs.
Yeah.
They get paid hourly for special events like street fair, 4th of July, things like that.
So like Ian Bettenhouse, for example, now, what does he think he's getting paid by the hour that he spends here?
I don't know.
Okay, no, I'll let you do that.
Okay.
I had mentioned to you a few days ago that we have an employee that is applying for full-time disability. Were you able to get any information about that?
I found the paperwork. I haven't read through it yet.
I have information on that, if you want. Are you sure that's true?
Just what was on the paperwork from the Bureau of Workmen's Compensation, which I don't have.
You got a copy of that?
I don't have it. Apparently Nate does.
I found it in Al's office.
I inquired to the employee about that, and I don't know how that rumor got started, but it's not true. It was a different matter. If I could put it in an email and explain it. He gave me a copy of it. if one read the letter hurriedly, one would think that was the case, but that's not the case. And it didn't come from the employee. So I don't think we should discuss it in public, but I could put the explanation in email.
Yeah.
I was asked for a breakdown, a small breakdown of wages for an employee for some reason, and I don't have the note with me but I gave it to her. But it led me to question just a couple of things. We have an employee who worked hard last year and bumped his yearly rate from about 53,000 up to 72 plus $1,000. So, and that was for overtime, of course. And you know, you work it. That was a lot of overtime. $20 plus $1,000 in overtime. At least it's something to think about. And as I was going through his reports, there were a couple of the reports, and I'll give these to you later, but for example, one pay period, he worked 203 regular hours and 104 overtime hours. How can you work 203 regular hours and not be over the limit to get to overtime? It just seemed a little odd.
Because the overtime's 206 now, or what was it?
Overtime is anything over 212.
Oh, 212?
For now these career positions.
Yeah.
In a month, right? 212 and 4 and
212 and 28 days.
28 days.
Okay, well, that answers that. And then there were a couple of pay periods, just, I couldn't quite understand. There were 0 hourly wages made, but there was overtime pay made.
Because that employee would have already been in overtime after that 212. So whenever that 212 fell in the pay period, everything would have been strictly overtime.
But why wasn't he paid for the hourly, for the 212 hours?
Don't know. When was that rain?
February 29th of 24. From the pay period of February 10th to 23rd.
Of 2024?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that the same employee?
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't it true?
I want to read that
if-
table.
And then there's one for October of 24, where he worked 9 hourly hours and 231 overtime hours.
Well-
I didn't run that. I didn't run that table.
So, if overtime is calculated over a 4-week period, once they reach 212, Chris, if you reach 212 in that first pay period, everything he does beyond that is overtime, and I expect that person's going to do that again in this next period because he had 196 overtime hours. So yeah, I share your alarm, Chris.
Why wasn't he paid the full amount for the hourly, and then in addition, the overtime? It just doesn't make sense. 9 hours of hourly wages for a pay period from October 5th to October 18th. A normal pay period with like 2 days. 9 hours of hourly wage and 231 hours of overtime.
Okay, that would mean the previous, so to reach overtime, you have to work 212 hours. That means the previous pay period, he probably was already at 203.
Yeah.
So then this pay period, he got 9 more, that tripped the threshold, and he got 231 overtime. Does that?
You'd have to look at the whole 28-day work period to understand the whole the scale of it. So like, you work X amount of 24-hour shifts, they start accumulating that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your 212 things. So you start working. Once you hit 212, anything that you work over, whether it's your normal schedule or you pick that shift up, that starts becoming overtime. So that starts accounting for those hours.
So these pay periods are not snapshots of those particular dates. This also includes
It spans
months,
28 days.
whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad you understand. I don't know if it was the last time, but there was a question of changing an employee's wages from step 1 to step 2 based on merit. That was requested from the prior chief.
Cassie Brewer.
And I asked you for your recommendation, and you thought you were in favor of that also?
Yeah, I
Based
think
on
in favor
merit.
of it, and I also understand that he doesn't have his medic, and I know that's a hard sell point for the board.
Mhm.
I understand that.
So, board, we tabled this until this meeting. Let's bring it back up.
I don't think we tabled it, I think we voted no.
No.
There was, for the minutes, there was no second on the motion, therefore there was no vote. There's nothing about tabling. I could very well have missed it, but it's not. Refer to another time. Kind of.
Kind of, sort of.
So you want to bring it up again?
It was on the agenda.
Was it? I didn't see it on the agenda.
It was in the minutes from the last meeting. We have yet to ever go by agendas.
I don't. I'd like a full explanation of the situation, the recommendation.
So, under Chief Powell, Cassie Brewer was promised a step 2.
He was promised, okay.
Or it was promised or was implied he would get step 2 for the firefighter sergeant EMTP. He is currently in class. He is currently top of his class in his medic class.
What is it? He started like 2 months ago and he's at the top, okay,
We're just
okay.
building the story.
Okay.
I do know that, the gist of the fight for it was that he's done good work. He's done good work on grants. He's got his grants. He's saved us money. He does show dedication. So he does work hard. So that was kind of the argument to get him to step 2.
Well, a promise is a promise, and an implied promise is implied. I can only go on recommendation of a prior recommendation and a current recommendation.
I move that we authorize that recommendation. I don't know the exact wording.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have some discussion. The discussion is that there have been multiple instances of the chief promising things. There are a lot of people working hard. It is not his to promise. He does only, they can only happen as an act of the board. In fact, one of the reasons we're doing an audit of the vacation days is because when last June, when we were first promoted both Georgia from the person who left and the 3 new ones, the chief told the fiscal officer to raise their vacation hours to from 4.6 per period to 7.36 per period, without any movement of the board. Colin Altman, in his entire career to the last year, didn't get that many vacation hours. That 7.36 is reserved for people at 15 or more years, and all those people had 5.
This has nothing to do with the
He
motion.
tried to authorize them to get extra vacation.
No, okay.
He
Fine,
probably, okay.
Yeah, we understand.
So,
Let's
what, the
continue on.
okay, with last
Let's
week,
continue on here.
okay, I'm still continuing.
No, you're
I'll
off
drop
the
that.
subject.
Okay, along with the recommendation to raise Cassidy up to sergeant paramedic, also a recommendation was made that he, instead of getting his 168 hours that someone 0 to 5 years gets, that he should get 240 vacation hours based on merit. I don't know where these recommendations are coming from. There is one variable that determines your vacation hours, and that is longevity.
We're not talking about vacation hours, we're talking about payroll.
But I'm saying simultaneously, those two things were suggested by the chief.
That has nothing to do with the motion on the floor.
6 people have been hired to career positions, maybe 5, because Justin's already a paramedic, with the condition that they become a paramedic. I don't see how the chief had the ability to promise that, and I don't see why it should be granted.
He promised to make a recommendation. That was a recommendation on merit, and that is done on an individual basis. We can't look at every other employee at the moment and decide whether they are entitled to a merit increase or not. This is one instance on the floor. It's been approved by both senior members of the department, and I would refer to their expertise as opposed to members of the board who probably don't have exact knowledge of what the employee did over and above what his working requirements are. With that, let's take a vote, please.
Going from the verbiage presented last meeting, it's been moved and seconded to move Cassidy Brewer to step 2 sergeant firefighter paramedic at 1988. Is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Mutcher?
Yes.
Ms. Moyer?
No.
Anything else for fire?
And there we start off with an exception to the very rules we just put in place.
Hearing none, we'll move to the cemetery report.
We don't have much, we're kind of slow, but we do have a burial that's coming Monday, completely. Do a big burial probably. A couple of actions scheduled in May. All activity.
Okay, let's see what excitement the road can bring.
I've only been playing with snowballs and. Yeah. Looks like good news against tonight, tomorrow maybe, possibly.
Oh, there's not
Yeah.
coming. Don't get your hopes up.
30%, I'm not putting my hopes up too much. I got a few potholes to fill tomorrow, but
Is that cold patch gonna hold up
Yeah,
long enough to put in the hole?
oh yeah, that's newer stuff.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
We got
Now
a
we-
generous donation from that township, so.
We fill our potholes with asphalt, not with
Cold
trees.
patch, it's blacktop, it's cold patch.
Not like not the Milt Lord planting a tree in the pothole. Okay.
And other than that, we're just trying to finish our spring cleaning in the shop. Just let it work when we can, with permitting.
how's our vehicle maintenance, equipment maintenance
It's in
yearly?
the process being started. Kind of hold off, gotta get some filters. Everything's there, ready to be worked on.
While you were out last year, Brandon, I believe, made a pretty complete list of the numbers and the battery numbers and everything. Any chance he's still got that list?
I believe it.
Was that right? Great.
Yeah, we've got a list of, what doors to wear, the list and tell them it's what we have to get it on, call it after, on we've got some we could already use.
How's your salt?
Not bad. We probably got 40, maybe 50 coming in here yet.
Yeah.
We won't need any for
Yeah.
frost and rain last week, so.
You got all your roads cleared okay over the weekend?
Yours all moved back and we're ready to go.
Good.
I had a car blocking the road on Smith when they run the drift, and that's their car just parked there. I called the sheriff's department and it was moved. Didn't even put a license number in there. It's gone. They just left it there.
The sheriff would have called up,
I called the sheriff's department.
Yeah, but-
Told them I had a vehicle blocking,
but they took care of the removal, but.
evidently, because it's gone.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't move it. I mean, I could have, but that's,
Yeah,
we don't
sure.
Figured let them do it. They got the job done. We were able to road all the way up.
Mhm.
Pretty good.
Anything else for the road? We'll move along to the fiscal officer's report. On our agenda, it's listed that the U.S. Bank checking balance is as 131. Now, this is prior to some distribution through the auditor, so it's 134, 150. And the Star Bank is $1,004,284.
No wonder fire must be so low. I got the wrong agenda.
The only thing I really have for the fiscal officer's report is we are still sorely behind in paying overdue invoices and current invoices, which will pretty soon be not current anymore. They will be overdue, so hopefully they can be addressed relatively soon. But the important part of this conversation is the OTARMA premium, which was due sometime in January. I mean, the drop dead date was February 10th on our coverage, so it was due sometime before then, but I will do my level best to try and get this invoice paid as promptly as possible.
Tomorrow?
No, they can't do it that fast. It has to be broken down into different categories. You remember the last couple of years anyway. It used to be nice because they'd send a breakdown, say, fire contribution was this amount, road contribution was this amount, cemetery was this, et cetera, breakdown. They don't do that now. Now it's like,
Now, we have to.
pretty much, they've got some real basic coverage amounts, but then you've got to fill in a pretty good chunk too. So
So
that needs to be
what
done.
has to be done to get it paid? Getting together with Gina and, or you say you have a check in an envelope? No.
No, I have a commitment letter to OTARMA saying we will pay this, even though we're past due and we're in a period where we would not be covered if there was an accident or a claim. That period ended.
No, that's not, I mean, we're not uncovered now, as far as I understand it.
That's not the way I read this. But anyway,
Oh,
we need
who did you get that from?
OTARMA.
I spoke with Wendy from Rotoma. She says, oh, no, you're not dropped. We couldn't do that. She convinced me that we were, it's just like, if you've ever been late on insurance, Chris, before they say, okay, if you don't pay it by this date, we're really gonna, She said we couldn't have dropped your coverage. We haven't. I hope that was right. You might have something else.
I realize that if this commitment is not upheld as promised, that's the March 1 date that I put on there, claims incurred after the policy anniversary date, that's been word 10, will not be considered. It's
Well,
pretty straightforward.
the point is, we're trying to pay it, and I'm glad you're on it.
My record of getting things paid is slim to none. And Slim's heading out the door. But I'll give it another try. That's all I can do. Anything else for the fiscal officer? The administrator. Oh, this must be just A1. Then we need to do, where's the page 2? This page 2. Standing committee reports, number 1, MVRPC.
I don't have a report.
Right, Development Corporation.
We've hired a requisition. It's housed under the village economic development position. Some young man, forget his name. That's all I have for that. Oh, I have one more thing for Wise Development Corporation. As you guys both know, we have 2 people on that board, myself representing the board, and then Corey Van Astel representing the township at large, and she is stepping down, so I'm currently recruiting others. That's all.
Enforced Natural Burial Committee.
I don't have anything for that. I want to continue mostly with, we had talked about the fountain area and the scale garden area, making that look a little nicer. So I'll continue working on that.
Active Transportation Committee.
No report.
Green County Regional Planning Coordinating Commission, we have met in the past 30 days. It was kind of strange because of the holiday, then it got moved and our meeting came after the most recent meeting, and so I'll report on that. Some interesting language change in Bath Township. I wish Brian was here, I wish Brian was here because he's a member of Bath Township's zoning commission. They revamped their sign section of their zoning code. About 12 pages long. It's as inclusive as anything in the Ohio Revised Code. The rest of
there in Bath Township?
I don't know, but the rest of their code must be that thick. It was just amazing how, and it was so detailed that there were inconsistencies in the details. And so regional planning said, we can't pass this because the inconsistencies haven't been addressed, because the Greene County prosecutor pointed out multiple things that was in there that probably shouldn't have been in place. So they got to straighten that out before we can approve that. But anyway,
Very entertaining.
it was just amazing how detailed that was. Anyway, that was that. Clifton Union Cemetery.
Nothing new.
Can I ask
Did you guys meet today or yesterday?
We were supposed to have a meeting on the 18th.
We had scheduled it. I'm sorry I didn't tell you
That's
that
okay, otherwise
it was
we're here, so.
put off because it was nothing new. Started fast, or said.
Before we move on, I was wondering why we didn't take up the exclusion zone.
That's coming.
No, it's finished. I mean, did you intend, was it because Jennifer was?
Because Jennifer wasn't here. I would like to have heard her reasoning on it. And the exclusion zone doesn't, the moratorium or the exclusion zone doesn't expire until June of '25. So it's still in effect.
I was assuming it was going to be brought up under either new business or old business.
I was assuming Jennifer would be here.
So it's only on the agenda because of Jennifer, so it's.
She asked for it. And
Well, I'm eager for us to do it soon. I would like to extend it.
Okay,
Well, just for the record, it's July 27th. We passed a resolution to send, to ask them, then they had to advertise it for 30 days. And I found I should send this to you guys, I found what's their names, the Green County, I found their resolution, and it says as of this date, and the date is signed July 27th, so we have even more time to.
Except that if they need another 30-day notice, we should still get it to them by the end of May.
And we need a public hearing with that as well. They don't want to hear any recommendations without public hearing, if you remember.
I don't remember that.
So are we discussing it tonight or no? Okay. Okay.
whoever is reporting on Green County Township Association, is there a report there?
We are, unless you object, we are co-sponsoring, co-hosting the March 11, am I right, March 11? Anyway, the March Township Association meeting with Xenia Township, Cedarville, and Bath. Originally, the discussion, the plan would have been May. And there was talk of us continuing to do May and Xenia and Bath doing March, but now the county commission and is coordinating with legislators to have another legislative session. That is, the May will be sponsored by legislators and maybe the county commission. And we'll go ahead and do March at Athletes in Action, the old OSNSO home. And I talked to Alan Stock. And he thinks it's going ahead. Basically, our name will be on it, and we'll write a check with the 3 other townships, sharing in the cost.
All right, we'll move to new business.
I'd like to make a motion that we go to executive session to discuss, how do I put it, improvement of IT cybersecurity at the township.
Could this be possible contract or?
Tonight? No.
I'm just trying to, why is it executive session?
Oh, I'm sorry, I wish I had the language, I sent it in an email, is for, you could call it executive session if there are security matters that could be, cause hazard to the township, so.
Okay. Is that one of the categories?
If you want me to get the exact,
Well,
language.
we just need to explain it.
I will need the exact language for that.
Okay. I put it in an email, I'm sorry, I thought I was gonna make it to the agenda. I'll get you the exact language.
You made a motion, I'll second.
And we vote, please.
Moved and seconded to adjourn to executive session to discuss security matters of the township on IT cybersecurity. Ms. Meyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hollister?
Yes.
Mr. Lucier?
Yes. 5:56. I can't make the declaration by somebody has to say whether there's going to be a vote on any new
If there will be action after
matters
the,
after the session.
I don't foresee that. No, I'll say no.